What's up, family? It's your brother Jared. Welcome to the Mitchell Experience. And today we're going to take a look at the Samsung Galaxy Buds. It's a lot of hype surrounding these things. They've been marketed as the Android or Samsung response to the Apple AirPods. And naturally, we're going to run these things through its paces. And I'm going to give you the Everyman perspective of how they sound, how they fit, how they live up to what they advertise. So without further ado, let's go. So if you don't know how I do my reviews, I'm always looking at 5 categories. I'm checking call quality, features, battery, fit, and sound. And I'm comparing them against the price to determine how well-rounded of a package do we have here. So without further ado, let's talk about call quality. I gotta be perfectly honest with you and tell you that I came into the call quality aspect with these with, I won't say low, but not very high expectations. And that is in large part based on the way these things were designed. And they advertise these as having, 2 microphones on each bud, one on the outside and one on the inside, if you can actually see that little hole there. And the inside one is supposed to be designed to, if there's outside noise, take the voice from the inside. It was marketed as a very complicated process, like it's gonna, whatever. But with all that being said, I mean, as much as I love Samsung products, I also know that, sometimes they don't exactly work as intended. But I'll say this: I wasn't disappointed. It actually lived up to what I expected it to live up to. It's not the best call quality. It does not match, the Jabra Elite 65Ts or the AirPods in terms of call quality, but it's passable. It's nowhere near as airy as some of the other earbuds that I've tested over, the last several weeks and last several months that I've been doing earbud reviews. But they do what they're supposed to do. They sound decent enough. I come across clearly enough. I'm able to have a pretty natural conversation, provided the connection is pretty strong. So, in all honesty, I really can't complain there. The microphone picked up decently. It did sound a little bit far away, a little bit airy, considering the fact that with these little bitty buds, it is, that little microphone is really far away from my face, really far away from my mouth. So that distance does play a role in how well the microphone is going to pick up, and the fact that the microphone isn't directional. But all in all, it's okay. It's not bad. It's not it's not groundbreaking, revolutionary sound type of thing. But keep in mind, these are $130 earbuds. So at that price point, you don't really expect it to move mountains. And the only thing that I expected was I wanted my calls to be decent, and I wanted my microphone to come across clear where I can engage in a conversation. And so far, between hangout calls, voice calls, driving through the office, not really had an issue with that. That's a good first sign. All right, so we are doing the vocal test for the Samsung Galaxy Buds. We're doing this in more of a real life scenario. I'm actually in the car driving right now. Got the radio playing slightly in the background, just ever so slightly. Checking to see how background noise picks up, how everything sounds overall. How do this thing picks up? Are you picking up any road noise? Are we picking up anything in the background? Testing 1, 2, 3. So let's start with features. I gotta admit, features for me, there was a lot of things I liked. There were a lot of things that I didn't like. So let's start with what I like. I like the fact that, if I'm on the home page, right, if I'm anywhere other than the app, when I open these things up, before I even take them out of the case, they're gonna bring up a dialog box very similar to the AirPods. It's gonna show you the battery percentage and let you know that it's connected. Now, once I'm actually in the app itself, I've got some controls here that I really like. I like the fact that it shows me the battery life of each individual bud, so I can tell, let's say for example, one bud is draining faster than the other. A cool thing about this, with this piece, right, is that it's also going to allow me to connect one bud by itself. Now you see how when I took the one bud out, it automatically disconnected the other one. Now it does that on both sides. The beautiful thing about this setup is that there is no master-slave scenario where you have to use, let's say for example, the right bud if you're going to use one at a time. This one really gives you the ability to use one or the other. Now you see, I took the other bud out and it did the same thing. I love that feature. I love the fact that I can choose whichever bud that I want to use based on whatever I've got going on at that point in time. The EQ has the ability to be turned on or off. By default, when you first get these things, the EQ is off. That took me a minute to figure out because, I was like, why does it sound the way it sounds? And then I discovered, you can turn that EQ on and off. I turned it off. I read a lot of people say put it on dynamic. The dynamic is the one I would recommend keeping it on because the other ones just don't sound right. Bass boost just really muddied up the sound a lot. Soft was exactly that. It was soft. Dynamic really gave some good punch to the lows as well as the highs. It made it sound a whole lot better. I'm interested by the fact that it gives you the ability to control notifications, but I also still use a Gears 3 Frontier as my smartwatch, so I don't really have a lot of features or a lot of use for that. I'll leave it on the default apps and I'm not really changing anything else because I don't really see a use for notification in my earbuds, but that's just me. Then you have the ability to change the controls on the touchpads. Now there's some things that are built into it by default. Play, pause the track, double tap to play next track, triple tap previous track, touch and hold, user's choice. Now, I'm just gonna come right out and say it. Touch controls on these things are finicky as hell. And it goes back to what I've said before on True Wireless earbuds. I prefer buttons. The Jabra Elite 65Ts have buttons. The TrebLab X5s, TrebLab X5s, they have buttons. The reason why I prefer buttons is because buttons are pretty no fuss, easy to understand, very difficult to get wrong. These touch pads, it just seems to me like the touch control is off more than it's on. I have the same issue with the Ralkins. What I was saying is I would recommend that when you get these, set these for volume and turn the volume up on these things because out the box it's set to like medium and they don't sound very good right off the bat. And I believe that a lot of reviews that were done on these early on did not turn the volume up, nor did they know to set the EQ settings. And I don't just mean the EQ settings in the app. I also mean the EQ settings that are actually here under sound, under advanced sound settings. Because once I set my sound quality and effects, I was able to adjust my EQ curve, and that combined with the dynamic setting on my EQ in the app made these things sound a whole lot better than they did out the box. Now, are they perfect? Absolutely not. But they're much better setting those options than they were right out the bat. Out the box, they were low, they were flat, they did not get loud enough. I was very disappointed until I made those changes, and once I did, I was pretty much good to go. I also like the fact that this thing has the Find My Earbuds feature built into it. The way this works is essentially when you take these out, if you lose one, it's going to play a chirping sound. It's going to kind of sound like a bird chirping, so you can hear what it sounds like. And it gets louder progressively. That part's pretty cool. Now, it's not going to be very useful to you if you happen to, lose these someplace in the house and you can't find them. You don't know where it's at. That's not going to be useful for you at all. But if you, take them, if you're taking them out of the case and one just happens to fall and you're trying to find where it fell in the shadow or under the car seat or something like that, that part's really useful. I also like the fact that when I got these things right off the bat, that there was a firmware update, which lets me know that these things can have some really good support as long as Samsung continues to roll out software updates for them. Maybe there's a patch, maybe there is, a connectivity adjustment, something. They can just roll those out to the earbuds and everything is all good to go. I like those things feature-wise. Another thing that I like is the fact that, these earbuds have wireless charging and they have USB-C. So to be able to just plop these things on and let them charge is dope. I can't see the battery percentage on the case, but this thing, very similar to these guys here, do have an LED on them that goes red, yellow, or green based on whatever status it is. So, if I close these bad boys up, you can see these things right now, they're glowing red, which means that I need to charge this charging case. I don't know if you've paid attention to the Jabras, but the Jabras do something very similar. Now these are sitting on yellow. I also need to charge these. But I like that. I like the fact that, you know, the charging options really streamline some things for me. Especially, I think I'm more excited about the USB-C than I am about the wireless charger, because that means that I can finally just take one cable with me when I go somewhere. I can use the same cable to charge my earbuds as I do my phones, and I don't have to worry about finding, you know, that extra micro USB and unplugging my USB-C to plug in my micro USB to charge my buds. The flexibility that this gives me it's a small thing, but it's awesome. What I don't like though, I don't like these touch controls, man. These touch controls are finicky as hell. I just don't like touch controls. I don't like touch controls on any of these earbuds. I've never had a situation where these really worked well. I don't like the fact that on the EQ, I don't have more control over it. So it would be nice if I can, like, say for example, just hold that down and be able to get my own EQ curve however I wanted it, and it'd be a user customized option, a lot like, you know, the sound settings of, you know, this is where I can go to advanced and I can set my own EQ. I wish that that option was there, but not, alas, it's not. We just have to deal with it. I don't like the fact that these things are only IPX2. I understand why it is, and I think it has something to do with the way these microphones are positioned. That makes sense to me. But it seems like if you're talking about a well-rounded set of earbuds that, you know, IPX6, IPX7, something to that effect that a lot of these $50 earbuds have would at least be built in. You know, IPX2, it might be fine, but it just gives me room for pause. Battery life. Battery life on this is actually pretty good. You know, the battery indicator really lets you know exactly where you stand. I am more concerned about the case. The case really only gives you 7 hours, and it seems like the case, in my experience, discharges pretty quick. It's like, you know, I'll put these things in the case, and the next thing you know, this thing goes from green to red, and you know, I haven't really been doing anything with them. It's not like they've been in and I've been playing and my earbuds were damn near depleted before I did that. So that to me is a little bit concerning. But the earbuds in themselves, you know, I've had these things in all day at the office, no issue. I mean, no issue at all. So battery life really gives me, you know, what I expect. For me, 5 hours or better on a set of earbuds for me is good enough. 3 hours is trash. Anything less than 3 hours is just absolutely abysmal. But if you get to that, you know, that 4 hour mark, we're cool. 5 hours to me is good. 6 hours is absolutely outstanding. And, you know, these fall into the really good to outstanding realm when it comes to battery life. The best thing that these things have going for them, though, hands down, fit. These things fit amazingly well in my ear. These are, comfort-wise and secure-wise, some of the best earbuds that I have. For these to be as small as they are, these fit exceptionally well, and I love the way these things fit in my ear. I've done the shake test. I've taken them to the gym. I've gone for a jog. I've done HIIT workouts. These things don't go anywhere. Did change these out to the larger wing and the larger earbud, mainly to get a better seal, and you know, I can feel it more prominently when I did that, but it's still not a situation where these things get uncomfortable. They don't make my ear hurt. They don't make me sore. It does feel like my ear is plugged because the seal is, you know, there, and the ambient noise, I don't think I even talked about that. The ambient sound on this thing is absolutely trash. You know, like the ambient sound gives me like this high-pitched trill on every sound that comes through. It's like everything is going through a treble filter. And so for that reason, and feeling like I have something in my ear and I'm constantly listening to something through an earplug, which is how these things feel, then these things got to come out. But in just, you know, fit alone, fit is not bad at all. Which takes me to my last category, sound. Sound overall is cool. It's okay. You know, the bass doesn't hit as hard as I like, and I read a lot of people say that it's, you know, lacking low end. Once I made my adjustments, it got a lot better. It's definitely passable. These are not even close to the top tier when it comes to sound quality wise. Now, like I said, once I got into the settings and I adjusted the volume up, and I got the volume where I needed to be, it was much better. And once I set the EQ curve, it was better still. So, I mean, these things are livable. Are they, are they the best? Are they going to go up against the Sennheisers? Absolutely not. But they're passable for what I pay for them. For $130 set of earbuds, I will say this: if sound quality is really the main thing that you're after, I still think the Maven Air X's are, the best sound quality wise that you can get. But the Mavens don't give me any of the features that these things give me, right? I mean, it gives me the good battery life, it gives me great sound quality, but it doesn't give me, the ability to customize anything on them. And that I actually found was very important to me. And the microphone on the Mavens were trash. So these are decent. I mean, these are a really good, well-rounded set of earbuds. Now, I say that with the caveat. And the caveat being, for all the great things that these things have, there is one thing that has been annoying the shit out of me. And that is, for whatever reason, when I'm listening, and it's so intermittent, or I won't say intermittent, it's sporadic. I can't seem to find the rhyme or reason. When I'm listening to something for a period of time, let's say, for example, I'm listening to a YouTube video. I listen to a lot of interviews on YouTube, and I watch a lot of, videos on YouTube, and, I listen to a lot of podcasts and things like that. For whatever reason, these things will just kind of it's almost like they get out of sync and they're trying to catch up with each other. And it's mainly on the left bud. And we're talking about a situation where, the phone is in my left pocket and I'm sitting, not, standing where there's extra distance, but I'm sitting, and it will just begin to kind of get choppy. And it's really difficult to describe. It's almost like, I think just the best way I can describe it is almost like they lose each other, and then one is constantly trying to play catch up with the next, and just every so often it just kind of falls out of sync. That's annoying. It's really annoying. And it's almost annoying to the point of, I don't know if I'm going to keep these annoying, because nothing will pull you out of an immersive experience faster than your earbuds getting out of sync, right? And if I can figure out what the cause of it was, maybe I can fix it. It might be a situation that can be corrected with the software update. I don't really know. But if this is supposed to be an AirPod competitor, then I would expect the same type of rock solid connectivity, especially considering that Samsung has created its own codec for this. Apparently they've created a scalable codec in lieu of, the aptX and all. And I know it runs the SPC codec, the AAC codec. It does not have the LDAC codec, and it does not have the aptX codec in any way, shape, or form, but it does have Samsung's proprietary scalable codec, which would, in my opinion, it seems like that. I know codec is primarily for playback, but it would seem like that would have some sort of effect on allowing these things to have a better connectivity to the device. But alas, it still gives me issues. Now, would I recommend these? In short, yeah, I would, actually. I like these. In anything, price is definitely a big factor in a lot of the decisions, right? I mean, that's the reason why I've been very clear. I'm not spending $300 on a set of, B&O E8s or a set of Sennheiser Momentums or, whatever. I'm not willing to spend that price point. For this price point, I think this is a really well-rounded. Now, I know the connection issues are sporadic and not everybody has them. And if you happen to luck up and you don't end up with those connectivity issues, I think this is a really good effort from Samsung. I'm not disappointed in my purchase in the sense that I paid, $130 for them. I wish there was more. It's almost like if I can take the best features of these and put them into these, then I would be happy, or vice versa. If I can take, some of the features of these and put it into these, I would be really happy with these. I mean, but there's no perfect product. So, with that being said, I would tell you, particularly if you have a Samsung device, go ahead and check these things out. They may not be for you, but at least check them out. Try them out, see how you like them. If you don't like them, take them back. But in my eyes, considering how, compact everything is, I feel like Samsung really did a good job overall for what they give you in such a small package. And in that, I can't really complain. So with that being said, that's it. I'll catch you on the flip. Peace.